Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Magician with a Microphone podcast. My name is Chris Lengyel with Chris Lengyel Magic, and let me tell you something. I'm really impressed with how many people we actually got to listen to the podcast last week. I had a bunch of people complimenting me, saying that the interview with Rich was great, and they want him back on, and hopefully we get him back on. Probably next week. I've been recording podcasts in bulk, so like I did a podcast last week with Rich. I'm doing this one today, and if he ends up, because I'm at the gallery, if he ends up coming in today, later, I'll just record next week's podcast today, if that makes any sense. I kind of have to work around his schedule. But guys, thank you for listening last week. I mean, that was probably one of the best interviews I think I've ever... It was actually, I can't really say that. That was the first interview I've ever conducted. I've never conducted a full interview before. That was the first time, and I was winging it on the spot. So thank you, everybody, for listening to that. I really hope you enjoyed it. And Rich appreciates it, too. He's like I said before, he's a very, very interesting person to listen to. I might be getting my friend Greg Dwyer on. I just have to confirm it with him. Him and I were talking. I'm supposed to be doing his podcast on Sunday. So when I'm on, I'll bring it up to him. So, but today I'm going to be talking about a little bit of wrestling, because I do want to go over the AEW beach thingy, because I did see some glimpses of that, and I was actually impressed with some of the... You stupid whore. Anyway, that was a hammer. I was impressed with a lot of the outcomes of the matches. I wasn't really expecting them. And, we'll talk about some other wrestling. We got the Royal Rumble coming up on Sunday as well. So, no, shit, Saturday. That's right. They're not doing pay-per-views on Sunday anymore. I don't know why they changed that. How do you get somebody so used to pay-per-views Premium live events. Got to be specific with WWE now. Premium live events. I guess they're doing those on Saturdays now. So, they must have to keep up with the Saudi Arabia schedule. Because I guess the Saudi Arabia shows are always on Saturdays, and, the American shows were always on Sundays. So maybe they're trying to, merge them so that way it's all, consistent. I'm not sure. But we'll talk a little wrestling, and then I'm going to get into a thing that kind of means something to my heart. It is an anniversary today, and it's not a relationship, trust me. Well, it kind of is, but we'll get to that when we get to that. I'm sitting here eating General Tso's chicken, and let me tell you something. I haven't had General Tso's in a couple of years. And I love it, man. I love hot food. For some reason lately, I've been craving black pepper. I think it's my anemia, my iron deficiency. So, let's brush up on wrestling really quickly. So, what was it called? Beach Bash, Beach Rush, Beach Break. It was called Beach Break. And I was thinking maybe, they would have it on a beach. Nope. Cleveland. No. Was it Cleveland? It was in Ohio. Cincinnati, Cleveland, Columbus. I think it was Cleveland. Yeah, it was Cleveland, because MJF made a LeBron joke. From the little bit that I've seen, we're going to talk about the ladder match at the very end, because what the fuck. All right. Orange Cassidy beating Adam Cole, baby, was great. Did not expect Orange Cassidy to deliver Adam Cole his first loss. I mean, it could have been anybody else, but hey, I guess it makes sense to the storyline. So, it was pretty cool, though. I mean, I like the backstabber with the chain. That was pretty brutal. Table spot was all right. I mean, it was nothing really special. It was a spine buster on a table, and the crowd went fucking crazy for it. The Panama Sunrise that Orange Cassidy delivers to Adam Cole was really good. And then, of course, the very end of the match, the big spot into the electrical board. I think it was the electrical board. It was something. And was that match a Falls Count Anywhere match? Because I know it was lights out, but I didn't know if like lights out matches were like sanctioned or anything. I didn't know if they had rules. Maybe you had to like, pin or submit in the ring. I didn't know. But either way, from what I saw, it was a very good match. You had the CM Punk, MJF, Wardlow, which, by the way, Wardlow's turning babyface. I mean, that's inevitable. It's just a matter of when at this point. And again, I really think it's going to be one of those things. I think Wardlow is going to cost MJF the loss against CM Punk. Because let's face it, Punk is not losing against MJF. I kind of wish this can go on longer. Because, shit, the promos have just been stellar. MJF cuts a promo and fucking... I mean, MJF could make anything look bad. You know what I mean? Like, he can insult anything. He can insult sugar cookies. And, fuck. It's just, he can make a heel thing out of anything. But then again, so can CM Punk. They're both very, very good on the mic. Like, some of the best I've ever heard, ever in the business. And a year ago, I had no idea who MJF was. All right. Actually, I would say just a little over a year ago. I had no idea who he was. I had an idea of, I had heard the name, but I was like, I don't really know about this guy. And when I heard him talk, I was like, holy shit. So the match is set up for next week in Chicago. MJF is shit talking. CM Punk is shit talking. I think it's either going to come to blows next week in Chicago, or I think they're either going to postpone it and put it to one of the bigger events. But at the same time, you can't push this thing for too long. This has been going on, a month now, a month and a half of straight up just shit talking. It's great, don't get me wrong, but I mean, like, it's gotta pay off eventually. And I think it will. I think it eventually will. But let's see. I didn't really see anything else from the show. Oh, shit. Yeah, well, we'll talk about... I think it happened during the Orange Cassidy Adam Cole match. Danhausen, what the fuck? I didn't expect Danhausen to fucking show up in AEW. Apparently he signed with them. The hell? Dude, I love Danhausen. I think he's fucking great. I think it's going to be great seeing him on national TV instead of just Ring of Honor. And for those of you who don't know who Danhausen is, just Google it. Look up on YouTube. I'm not going to sit here and explain it to you because I don't want to ruin it. But he's one of the most creative characters I've seen in a while. We'll say that much. I mean, we're talking like... It's hard to explain. It's just weird. He's dark as fuck, but he's funny doing it. So, Sammy Guevara versus Cody Rhodes. Oh my God. That match was back and forth. It was fucking action-packed. It told a story. It was... The only problem I've got is Sammy does not sell. Sammy Guevara can't sell to save his fucking life. You could kill him and he'll get up in less than a minute. That's the best way I can explain him. He's great. He's fearless. He does fucking moves that are going to be talked about for years to come. All right? Perfect example, that cutter off of the top of the ladder. He basically Jeff Hardy springboarded off of the ladder and hit Cody Rhodes with a cutter 12 feet above the ring. Because let's be real, the ladders get maximum. The maximum that they can make those ladders are 12 feet. They are not 15 feet, 20 feet like JR and Michael Cole say, all right? They're 12 feet. But that is still 12 fucking feet. That's over a story, okay? That's higher than a one-story house. That's insane. All right? And not only that, but the ladder didn't fucking budge. And they hit it perfectly. It wasn't a botched cutter. It wasn't like a protected cut. It was a straight up fucking move. Flat back bump, flat front bump from fucking Cody. And it looked damn near perfect. I would compare that. No, I wouldn't even compare it. I think it's better than the spear that Edge hit on Jeff Hardy at WrestleMania 17. It was absolutely damn near flawless. And that's going to be in the highlight reels for years to come. All right? And that wasn't even the most dangerous move of the fucking match. You had that senton bomb that Sammy Guevara did off the same ladder, the same 12-foot ladder, onto Cody, who was sprawled out on another ladder. And the first thing I'm thinking of is, oh, wow, they got wooden ladders now in here? Nope. Ladder didn't break, which means that hurt the fuck out of Cody. All right? Then you had the upside-down ladder spot, because I think Cody was trying to tell Sammy, like, dude, sell your shit. Like, I'm going to legitimately hurt you so you can sell your shit. There was that. The superplex off of the top of the ladder, which was stalled for a second, too. And they even hit the bump. They hit the belts and everything. That was insane. That looked like it hurt like a motherfucker. Them hanging on the bar of the belts. And I will give Jim Ross credit for this. This just goes to show how well of a storyteller Jim Ross is and why he is the greatest fucking commentator that professional wrestling has ever seen. Okay? Jim Ross covered the fact that the referee took the ladder away when they were hanging from that bar. Because honestly, I don't think he was supposed to do that. I think he gave away the fact that there was going to be a big move, and I don't think he was supposed to do that. Okay? Jim Ross covers it by saying, good thing that the ladder was moved because a fall from that height could seriously cut deep one of our wrestlers here, and it's a really good thing that Tony Khan booked two referees outside and inside of the ring, so that way, accidents like that could be prevented. I was like, holy shit. Something that I was convinced was a botch ends, and he fixes it. Like, wow. I was expecting a "you fucked up" chant from the crowd to the referee. I don't think he was supposed to move that. Because they usually don't. And usually if you see a referee going and moving something, it's to set up a spot, Way to project that. But Jim Ross cleans it up. Sammy Guevara ends up winning the two titles. Dude, so fucking happy for him. Sammy Guevara is... I didn't like him at first, I'll be honest, and it wasn't even his character. I didn't really like him. Didn't really care for him as a wrestler. Now, I've got so much fucking respect for that kid, and he's young. He's got years ahead of him. He is the reason why high flyers are working so well, because he can tell a story with his moves. He's just got to learn how to sell. So that's my AEW take with what I had seen and, what I was able to put together. I'm really looking forward to the Chicago. I'm going to try to watch it next week. WWE Royal Rumble is coming up on Saturday, and for those of you who know me, the Royal Rumble is my favorite event of the year, because I love the unpredictability. Way to fucking go, WWE, announcing just about all of the people in the Rumble. Whatever happened to surprises, dude? There have been leaks on the winners, there have been leaks on the returns, there have been leaks on the main event of WrestleMania saying it's going to be Ronda Rousey versus fucking Becky Lynch, which, let's face it, if Ronda Rousey comes back, she's winning the Rumble. I'm calling that now. I'm calling the winner of the men's Rumble is going to be AJ Styles, and the winner of the women's Rumble is, if Ronda Rousey does not return, it's going to be either Bayley or Bianca Belair. That's, yeah, either Bayley or Bianca Belair. If Rousey does not return. Men's is going to be AJ Styles or... Oh, you see, now that could fucking turn... That can determine what happens in the title matches. Lesnar's not losing the belt. Let's get that clear. However, Roman could. If Roman loses the belt, he's winning the Rumble. If all the belts stay, AJ. AJ's my pick. I don't think there's any other logical choice. I really don't. AJ Styles is one of the best wrestlers in the world. And I have said this for fucking years, almost a decade now. I was saying AJ Styles is one of the best wrestlers on the planet since he was in the X Division in TNA. I have always liked AJ Styles, heel or babyface. I have thought AJ Styles is one of the most technically perfect wrestlers in the ring. Him, Jericho, and Kenny Omega, right, are, in my opinion, the three best wrestlers I have ever seen. And I'm saying that knowing that I grew up watching Shawn Michaels, Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit, which I'm not afraid to say that name on this podcast, and my opinion on him is a little controversial. Maybe we'll talk about that one day. I grew up watching Rey Mysterio, who's probably the greatest technical high flyer that's ever lived. I grew up watching Dean Malenko, who was possibly one of the greatest technical wrestlers, probably wrote the book on technical wrestling, modern day technical wrestling. Lance Storm, Bret Hart, all of these guys. I grew up watching them, and I think AJ could go toe-to-toe with any of these guys in their prime and still have... He can run the clock out on an Iron Man match and probably add another hour to it, okay? AJ Styles is there's a reason why he's called phenomenal. AJ Styles is a damn near perfect technical wrestler. This late bullshit with WWE, obviously, they're not going to let him do everything that he can. It's known that WWE holds back their wrestlers. They don't let them wrestle at their full potential. Hell, that's why I think a whole bunch of the guys are asking for their releases, like Ali. Ali is fan-fucking-tastic. I think he honestly could have been the next Eddie Guerrero as far as his in-ring ability and his ability to get you to fucking hate him. Because, he was getting booed out of the building when it came to that Retribution bullshit. Alright? And I'm going to get a lot of shit for saying that, but Ali, dude, was so abused as a fucking performer. And a lot of these guys, like the wrestling critics out there, they don't give these, the WWE guys credit. Now, mind you, yeah, I've switched from WWE to AEW. Okay? Yet, my three favorite wrestlers of all time have always been Chris Jericho, CM Punk, Randy Orton. All right? I discovered all of them when they were in WWE. I knew about Jericho in WCW. I didn't know about CM Punk in Ring of Honor until after the pipe bomb when I really did research on him. Randy Orton's a homegrown guy. So it's like my three favorite wrestlers of all time each have their own backgrounds, which means that, I'm not, it doesn't mean that I'm biased, towards any specific company because, they did come from different places. But like, Jericho to me is the perfect wrestler, okay? Anything he touches turns to diamond. All right? The dude got a pen click to be more popular than the entire fucking Raw roster at one point. Every gimmick that he's ever tried has been, either funny, something that you can cheer, or you absolutely fucking hated him, okay? He could play an annoying character, a serious character, a fun character, a badass character, a heel. You give him anything, and he can make you either cheer it or boo it. Anything at all. I can guarantee you, if they gave Chris Jericho a stuffed penguin, and told him to make the crowd boo it, he would make that penguin look like it was gonna fucking kill everyone in that building, dude. He would make you hate that fucking stuffed penguin. Because he just has the ability to do it. All right? Randy Orton is probably the best in-ring worker in WWE today. His timing is flawless. His execution is flawless. Has he been wrestling for 20 years? Yes, so he's got the experience, all right? His in-ring psychology is absolutely fucking brutal, all right? He could read opponents like a book. He can anticipate moves. He could anticipate holds. He can anticipate whole fucking spots. I guarantee you half of his matches are just called on the spot, just by the way that they play out. He's technical. He's got a bit of a powerhouse, ability to him. Because let's face it, that power slam that he does, that quick one, that ain't easy to do, bro. I've tried, when I used to wrestle, I tried that. I almost threw my fucking back out. He's another one where you can either hate him or fucking love him. This thing that he's doing with Riddle is great. But at the same time, when he was like that maniacal, I don't give a fuck Randy Orton, and he put a screwdriver through Jeff Hardy's ear and handcuffed his fucking Gage to a ladder. What the fuck? Like, Randy, you been watching Saw much, dude? What the fuck? You hated him. I hated Randy Orton when he was doing that whole, what was it? Explosive or emotional or IED or whatever the fuck it was, where he was with Legacy. I fucking hated him. All right. When he was against Bray Wyatt, doing the whole thing against the Wyatt family, fucking loved him. When he was working with the Authority, fucking hated him. Doing this whole thing now, fucking love him. One of those guys where he could make you cheer and boo him no matter the circumstances, okay? CM Punk, I don't even need to talk about because I talk about him damn near every time I talk about wrestling on a podcast. But you know what I mean. So yeah, so I feel like AJ Styles should win the Rumble. I feel like he's long overdue for another title reign. And it's going to be glorious when it fucking happens. No pun intended. I also saw a leak for the Hall of Fame. Can I just say that too? I saw a leak that said that they were going to be inducting The Rock and The Undertaker in at the same time. And I'm like, that's fucking bullshit. You can't do that. You can't have The Rock and The Undertaker go in the same night. No, because the leak that I saw was Paige, Michelle McCool, The Rock, The Undertaker, Batista, and oh my god, who was the last one? Oh, what the fuck? Who was the last one? It was a recent guy, too. Shit. Paige, Batista, Michelle McCool, Undertaker, Rock, and somebody else. This is at least a picture that I saw on one of the wrestling groups that I'm part of, and they're usually really good about their news. And their leaks. They're almost dead on accurate with their leaks every time. But I knew it was kind of bullshit because I was like, there's no way. Shane McMahon. I was like, there's no fucking way they're going to put Rock and Undertaker in at the same night. if you want my opinion, God damn, this General Tso's is good. If you want my opinion, I think Undertaker should have his own night. He's the only dude who never left the company. He's the only dude who stayed in character for fucking 30 years. He didn't leave for Hollywood. He didn't leave for, when times were tough, he stayed. He fought even though he knew he shouldn't. Through like fucking pain and injuries and all that. He put up with Goldberg. Hell, he let them take his streak away at WrestleMania. He had 21-0. Even though I don't think that really happened the way it should have happened. No, let me take that back. I don't think it was supposed to happen. I don't think the streak was supposed to end. We'll talk about that another day. Because maybe we'll talk about wrestling conspiracies one day. Maybe I'll bring a whole bunch of them up and it'll be, we can talk about that. Let's see, how much time are we in? Because I want to talk about this anniversary. Okay, just about 30 minutes. All right, let me spend another 4 minutes on this. Rock, absolutely deserving. Surprised he's not in it already. Undertaker needs to go in on his own. Because I can guarantee you the Undertaker will have a longer standing ovation than Hulk Hogan did. I guarantee it. And at this point, Undertaker might have more respect from WWE fans than Hulk Hogan does. With the whole racist tirade and everything that came out, I'm surprised people cheered him at WrestleMania 35. I did hear boos. When he was the host of 37, I did hear people booing him. And I thought it was fucked up that they put him with Titus. And I'm gonna touch on this really, really quickly. I don't think I should, but I'm going to because, it's only fair. Hulk Hogan saying all of that shit was absolutely wrong. I get it. I get that people are mad at him. But at the same time, I feel like he's tried to prove himself. To at least say, hey, that was a while ago. I'm willing to apologize. I'm willing to try to make peace. Because I think that Hogan, I think he's noticing that his friends are dying. Let's face it. All right, Hogan's friends are fucking dying. Ric Flair is like the only one left. And I think Hogan really started to see things differently when he made amends with, and I'm not speaking for Hogan. Trust me. I don't know the guy. I don't know the way he thinks. For all I know, he could have not meant any of his apologies. He's still a piece of shit. He's just trying to play face, But, for all you know, Hogan could see like, hey, I made amends with Ultimate Warrior and he died. It's a good thing I did that because what if I didn't? Maybe that's his mindset. Maybe he realizes, my wrestling career is done. I'm getting older. My friends are dying. Maybe I should make amends with everybody, or at least try to. So who knows? Maybe he's trying to bury the hatchet with a lot of people. Same thing with what Bret Hart did with Shawn Michaels and Vince McMahon. That's something that we never thought would happen. But, horrible circumstances. Hogan said horrible things. But I try to see the good in a lot of people. And maybe, because I heard rumors like after he returned one night, he tried apologizing to everyone. And like Mark Henry and Booker T and everybody stormed out of the room and swearing because they were all pissed. Like Titus O'Neil. Like, they wanted nothing to do with them. But, like I said, I try to see the good in everybody. I try to see the good in certain situations. Hogan did pave the way. If he said that shit, it's absolutely horrible. But at the same time, I feel like instead of holding a grudge, everybody should be able to forgive each other, be friends. It's a healthier life that way. You know what I mean? So if Hogan... if Hogan meant it, so be it. I think bygones should be bygones. Let's try to fix things. Let's try to make things better. Let's try to put out a positive message to people, saying, hey, at one point I thought like this, and now my eyes were opened. I talked with different people, and now I think this way, But then again, if Hogan didn't mean anything and he's just trying to play babyface and politic Hogan, then fuck you. So, where the hell was I going with that? Wow, I got way off topic. I just realized, my pick for the Royal Rumble is AJ Styles. All right, so guys, I did want to say, that's the end of my wrestling rant. I did want to say that today is an anniversary, and I'm not talking about an anniversary with anyone. That's not going to be until the 15th. But today is January 27th, 2022. Actually, it is 29 years since Andre the Giant died. Wow. Interesting. Okay, that's the end of my wrestling rant. Today marks 10 years since my very first theater magic show at Naugatuck High School. It was a fundraiser for my senior class, and we damn near sold the place out. That was a fun night. All right, so let me talk about it in a way that would make sense to you guys, because the way it reminisces in my head is different from the way that people remember it. When I was a senior in high school, I was Mr. fucking popular. Not by my choice. I'm not saying that to sound conceited. I'm saying that as I walked into the cafeteria because before school started, before the day started, we would all hang out in the cafeteria, and then when the first bell rang for our first period, we would just go to class. My first day at Naugatuck High School, we're all hanging out in the cafeteria. I go up to somebody who has since been a friend, Antonio, and I take his pen, I shove it up my nose, pull it out my mouth. Next thing you know, I'm the most popular kid in school. People are asking me to see magic all fucking day, every day. All right? It's crazy how popular I was. I couldn't go to the bathroom, and I talk about this during my magic show, during one of my many stories that I tell, because I'm a storyteller. But it would get to the point I couldn't go to the bathroom without somebody asking me to do a magic trick. We had a presentation in our high school auditorium one day. I fell asleep through it. I was woken up by "We Want Magic" chants. I guess at the very end, there was still 10 minutes to go, and everybody just starts chanting, "We want magic." And I'm like, what the fuck? So I run up to the stage, and I did a couple of magic tricks for everybody, and I was like, oh, this is fucking cool. Because I'd never done a stage show like that before. So I decided, I was like, you know what? I want to do a full illusion show. I want to do a full magic show, stage show, theater show, and I'll do it as a fundraiser so I don't have to pay for the auditorium. So we put it together. So my magic teacher, Russ, who I was very close with, and we have since lost contact with each other. It was more of I disappeared from him because I was a nuisance, and I felt like I was fucking a lot of shit up for him, and I just, after a while of messing up so much, eventually you tell yourself, you know what, stop doing this to people and just go away. And that's what I did. So, I mean, granted, Russ will never hear this, but, if he ever does, it's no hard feelings, and I actually do miss him. Russ taught me magic. He taught me the very basics in magic. He taught me how to put together routines, stories. He taught me psychology on stage. He taught me what tricks to do, what not to do, what to put together, what not to put together, But Russ and I were very close. Russ designed my logo, my first logo for me. Designed my playing cards. He designed a lot. He made my merchandise. He gave me half of my magic props. So, Russ was a very important person in my life, and unfortunately, I fucked up the relationship way too many times. And at this point, I think it's irreparable, But, because God, he would be another one I would love on the podcast, but like I said, I don't talk to him. But he helped me make merchandise and T-shirts. That's actually where I debuted my first new T-shirts was at the show. he helped me put the routine together. I got to borrow illusions from him. I made a fucking kid levitate at the very end of the show, like right on the stage, horizontally levitating, which got a standing ovation. But, he helped me make the tickets, all the promotional merchandise, promotional stuff, merchandise, all of that stuff. We got the date booked, and I just started promoting the hell out of it. And that night, I only had like 3 rehearsals because it was funny. And not a lot of people know this. I had the fucking flu, like the worst flu before it was known as COVID. I had the worst flu the night of the show. So I was already in a bad mood. I was yelling at people backstage because they were fucking everything up, fucking up cues, and, things weren't in order, things weren't done right, and my lighting was off, my sound was off. This is all like an hour before the show starts. So, my friend Troy Bond, who's a comedian who everybody listening to this should listen to him because he's one of the funniest fucking people I've ever met in my life, opened for me. He used to do a Michael Jackson tribute show, concert thing. And Troy was the intermission act. We had a raffle. We sold like raffle tickets for, my friend at the time's bakery. He's still my friend, but at the time he had a bakery. We had my friends from DIU Productions, my friend Dom and my friend Sean, MC it. And it was a good 2-hour show. And it was the first theater show I ever did. And it meant a fuck ton, like a lot to me. To this day, I think it's the biggest crowd I ever sold. And I was looking through pictures of that show today on Facebook, because I was actually reminded on Facebook, like, oh, you did this 10 years ago. Holy shit. Looking at pictures of myself, I think I must have lost over 100 pounds over the last 10 years. I was very sick with my ulcerative colitis. I was dying from ulcerative colitis. People don't know that either, because nobody would ever listen when I tried telling them. But I was dying from ulcerative colitis. I had my large intestine was literally eating itself away. It had holes in it. I was by the time I had my surgery on September 12th, the night Jerry Lawler had a heart attack. By the time I had that surgery, my large intestine did not work anymore. And it was basically Swiss cheese. But I was feeling the effects of that for like 3 years prior. The night of this show, it was hitting bad. I was taking so much drugs, so much medication to try and ease the pain. So I had to have ballooned up to, at that point. I was probably 260 pounds at my heaviest. 270. Because, I wasn't fat in the stomach or anything, because I couldn't, my body wouldn't take protein or, nutrients or anything like that, because I was so damn sick and I was shitting it out all the time. I'll talk about my colitis in another episode, too. Or maybe I won't, who knows. But I was really sick, physically and, inside and outside. And we still made that show work, man. And it was a fundraiser for the senior class, and 7 seniors showed up. But you know what? The ones that did, I remember who you are. I want anyone listening to this to know. I remember people. I remember who people are. I remember who did me right, and I remember people who did me wrong. But mostly I remember people who did me right. Okay? That list, unfortunately, is not as long as the people who have done me wrong. But I remember the people who've helped me. I kept that picture of me posing with everybody after the show. Kept it for the longest time. It's still on my Facebook. I can post it. I'll probably post a memory of it today. But that show taught me a lot. Taught me what did and did not work on stage. It taught me to hire my own crew. It taught me to always make sure I do mic checks and sound checks and video and lighting checks. It taught me what works as far as visual tricks on stage. It taught me that, card magic does not work on stage. Plants in the audience don't work. It taught me how to think on my feet. But most importantly, it taught me how to market. It taught me how to market a theater show. There's a big difference in doing like a library show as opposed to a theater show. Huge difference. And, I'm just grateful for that show. I'm grateful for the experience that I had. 10 years ago today, man, it's crazy. Which means that in June, it'll be 10 years since I graduated high school. And then 10 years since I split from my family for the wrong reasons. 10 years since my surgery. 10 years since my second surgery. So, 10 years since I got my first job. It's crazy. So yeah, I just wanted to reflect on that really quickly. It's a very important, meaningful show, and unfortunately, I have no footage of it. I wish I did, but I don't. So, with that being said, guys, I'm working on putting together a new batch of shows. I unfortunately had to cancel the tour I was doing because of personal reasons and things I don't really feel like discussing and getting pissed off about. I will be at the Gem Room in Naugatuck, Connecticut on June 11th. It's a public show. Tickets are available on my website. If you're going to buy tickets, fucking show up. If you're going to tell me you're going to show up, fucking show up. That's all I'm going to say. I'm working on getting a show at Ansonia High School. Big fundraiser for the class of whatever. We're figuring out something. I told them I can do it for the seniors, but it's going to depend on what the PTO says. And a whole bunch of other public things. I'm working with Dave Riley at his comedy shows. I'm working with, I'm working on getting a lot of my old gigs back. I'm going to be doing festivals. I'm going to be doing concerts. I'm going to be doing a whole bunch of shit. So go to my website, chrislangellmagic.com. Had a burp there. chrislangellmagic.com. And go and see what I've got going on. So, guys, I'm going to get going. Unfortunately, I don't think Rich is going to be coming in and recording anything with me today, so hopefully I can get him on next week. I'm Chris Langell with Chris Langell Magic. Thank you for listening to the Magician with a Microphone podcast. I will see you guys, or I'll talk to you guys next week.